Okay, welcome to the part two of the conversation.
Part two, sponsored by nobody.
Nobody.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's not like
Um,
we're doing this for the money.
we're not.
No, we're doing it because we're good people and we want to serve the community by telling them about our experiences. If you'd like to donate to us,
Oh, I was doing it because I have a lot to talk about and nobody was listening to me anymore. But okay.
I think,
Uh,
yeah, and you don't want to pay for a therapist, I know.
I know, oh my God, I really don't.
Isn't it covered by a company?
Not the therapy.
No? Oh,
No.
see, this is why you work in retail because they know you need therapy. So they provide for it.
Yeah, for us, like we have a good,
Benefits package?
yeah, it's sort of it's okay. It's decent, I would say.
Mine's decent too. I have massages and acupuncture and everything. I haven't used it, but I
Oh,
should.
I have massage, acupuncture, naturopathy, physiotherapy.
What the hell is naturopathy?
I
Where you
have,
go out into the nature?
if it is, I am into it, but I don't think so. I think it's
Okay.
like herbal medicine, maybe like
Oh, so
supplements and
oh,
stuff.
so like the snake oil moms and stuff. Oh, it's a whole thing.
Mm.
Let's call it Ayurveda and move on.
Yeah, maybe not Ayurveda, but something homeo, maybe
Homeo,
homeopathy.
homeopathy. Okay, I think we're doing it well
We are.
without a prescription because the
Definitely.
prescription is gagging. Which no, I can't do that.
Prescription is got. Okay, you were talking about your friend breaking the futon.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Let me make it. Let me clarify that he didn't mean to break the futon, and he wasn't a gigantic 300 pound thing. It wasn't that. I think the futon was just really old, and
mm,
we are after like 3 4
just
months of
gave up.
yeah. Just like my mental health, it just gave out. South
Mm.
Indian Bank connecting, but yeah.
The fact that I'm actually planning to start an account there and you saying all of this,
No, don't. I wouldn't recommend it. I've seen when you've seen the back end and the dark side of things. I think that's another episode we could talk about all the employers that we have had and
mm,
discuss how the work culture and everything changes. I think that's another topic we can discuss.
mhm.
Bookmarked. Um,
Please
so yeah,
remember,
yeah.
like I will
So
forget. Yeah.
so what happened was about I think about 6 months in, we both realized that if we stay together, we'll either end up killing each other or other people. Because
Mm,
he liked it really warm, I liked it really cold. So during the winter, I'd leave the window open, and then he'd have to wake up in the middle of the night and close the windows. So that kind of thing. Again, we are both loud and boisterous in different ways. He's a more cheerful, energetic kind of person. I'm not. I can
mm,
put on a show for when I'm at work. I can be really cheerful and engaging at work because I get paid to do that. But when
mm.
I'm in my own time, I like to be reserved. I like to enjoy my space. And if anybody dares bother me, they'd rather get ready to be murdered.
Uh,
I trained my parents and my old bosses to respect that because when I would go home from work, until the Naratorakkal happened, when I came out of my bedroom, nobody was allowed to disturb me, including
mm,
my father. Like that usually doesn't happen in
mm,
Malayali Indian homes, right? Where the kids don't make the rules, but I made my rules because again, we're not on this earth to um, entertain our family. We're not here to make life easier for anybody else besides ourselves. Even though that's a selfish perspective, that's where you start. You don't put the mask, you know, you have to put it on yourself first and then the baby. And
mm.
in this
Oh,
case,
you were
I
talking about
am.
the oxygen mask.
Yeah. So in this case, I am the baby as well.
Mm.
So you have to
No,
take care of
yeah,
yourself, right?
that makes a lot of sense. If
We
for
should
any,
make that our mantra. That makes sense.
that
Every
I
time I
should make
speak,
it or we should.
every time I speak, say that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Like, oh my God. Because when how I think about it is similar to what you said, you cannot help anyone else if you don't help yourself first. And more to that is if you don't know who you are, like who are you putting other self? Like only you know yourself best, and you cannot expect someone else to know you if you yourself don't know who you are.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
it is true. So again, that's how we ended up in Canada doing these very different things, but still being
mm,
friends because I think we have understood the roots of ourselves, so we can figure out what works for us and then go from there, right?
yeah.
Talking about living situations, so after the student accommodation, again, we started looking for separate places. And the first place I found was this nice little room on the bus route. It was a basement room. I wouldn't call it an apartment. It was a house. It was rented by, I want to say three, I don't remember anymore, three Punjabi boys. And I was the fourth one. And I got the other apartment. And gave me a parking space and everything, which was nice. The garbage and cooking arrangement was very difficult because I was used to the student accommodation where it was a shared kitchen. You could cook anytime and you had your own reserved space for your utensils and stuff. And this new home situation was more difficult for me because, uh, again, what they cook, what I cook, very different. How they use the space is different. And the hardest part for me was that I couldn't play music because they were like, "Oh, it's too loud, it's too loud, it's too loud." And no, it wasn't. It's just because my bedroom, the vents went directly into their bedrooms. So they could hear everything through the air vents.
Oh, okay.
So that was a constant struggle. So I was always annoyed. But then I come to find out that they hadn't told the landlord that they were getting another person. So one time when uh, I got locked out of my room, because again the doors lock themselves, right? So they had to get the landlord to open the door, and that's when the landlords started getting suspicious. Like, why would you use a spare bedroom that should be for luggage? Why is there a bed in there? And I was told to stay in the hall so that the landlord wouldn't see. That's when I got suspicious. I'm like, what the hell? So it was, and then one fine day they told me that the landlord had found out that there was another person, so I had to move. Oh, I was so pissed off. I was so annoyed because by this time I was fully employed. I had money saved up and everything. So finding a place wasn't difficult, but the process, it was, I think, 3 or 4 months after I had moved. So I was so annoyed. So I found another place.
Yeah.
Thankfully, this was owned by a Malayali lady. And it was, again, this time it was a room, a kitchen, and a bathroom that I got for, I think it was, again, I think around $400.
No
I want to say.
way.
Yeah, again, that was the great thing about Sudbury. Rents hadn't gone up crazily high at the time. I think it was 400, 420, something around that. I don't remember exactly, but it was under 500 for sure. So I
Do you
got
know how much
my
it is would be now, approx?
I didn't quite catch that. I think you cut out.
Do you know how much it would cost right now for a similar setup?
A
Or
1,500, at least 1,000,
oh, okay.
I think. But I haven't looked at rents in Sudbury, but the last time I checked, I think it was a year ago when I was thinking about going back to Sudbury when I left the um, the grocery store. When I yeah when I left the organization, um, I wanted to go back to Sudbury to figure out what I wanted to do next. So I looked at apartments there, and there was one bedroom apartment for about 1,100, 1,200 of a similar size.
Mm,
But before I moved, I found something else here, and I decided I'll stay. So then I had to quickly move, scramble to move to the other place. I moved, and it was nice. I finally had a secure space. I only had to share the kitchen with another person, and they were a couple, and they were a nice couple. It was a Malayali guy and a Pahadi girl, and they were a really nice couple. So we would share stories while we were cooking, have fun. I didn't have to share the washrooms. That was good. In my bedroom, it was a tiny bedroom, but everything I needed was in there. My TV, my books. I could play my music as loud as I wanted without anybody ever complaining. That was
mm.
really nice. And it turned out that the landlady was a relative of one of my best friends from college. Serendipity. So one time, yeah. So I got invited to her
Oh,
house
hold
to
on.
have
Can you repeat that? It turns out the Malayali lady was.
landlady was a relative of one of my best friends from school, college, back in India, from MA college. Yeah.
Oh,
And I didn't know, she didn't know. So she was doing a video call with family back home. And I think somebody heard my voice or they mentioned my name and they were like, oh, that sounds like somebody I know. And in conversation, they realized it's the same person.
oh, fantastic. That's such a
Yeah.
coincidence.
Yeah, it was fun. And I got to join in on the call the next time they did the call.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I stayed there for, I think, over a year in that apartment because I really liked it. I think that's the time when I was most productive and most happy when I was in Sudbury because my job was good. Even though I was working in retail, which I shouldn't have liked, because I was in a department that I liked. I liked my employer, I liked my colleagues, I liked my associates who worked for me. I was
Mm.
saving money, I was paying off my bills back home. Personal life was good. Yeah, it was fun.
Okay. Okay, now let's deep dive into. I don't want to talk about why I chose Toronto and why you chose Northern Ontario. Instead, I was thinking we'll do why we are not in each other's place. Like, why am I not in Northern Ontario? And why are you not in Toronto? I think that would be
An interesting conversation. Why don't you start?
a
Because I've been
smaller.
yapping.
Okay. So for me, Northern Ontario, the first thing is the commute, in the sense the local transportation accessibility is. It took me a long time to get that word. The accessibility across town. I believe it is quite difficult to use the buses and stuff because the frequency is quite low,
Yeah.
and it would be ideal if a person has a car. For me, I do not have driving license yet. It's something that I've been putting off. No judgment.
No, I'm not judging because again, I didn't plan on getting a driver's license or a car when I moved to Canada. When I was in Sudbury, I would get out of my room. My bus stop was right in front of my bedroom. I'd
Mm,
get on the bus, get to Walmart, and everywhere I wanted to go. Sudbury has a really good bus service, in my opinion. I know people in
mm,
Sudbury tend to hate it. I liked it because you could go anywhere in that 45-minute radius easily. There are buses every 15 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on the location. It's really good.
mm,
And once I moved to Kapuskasing, there are no buses here. There is no public transportation here.
mhm.
There's the
Yeah,
highway and then the streets.
yeah.
So
So exactly, like
I had to.
yeah, I do not like. It's not that I'm scared of driving. I love driving, but the investment, financial investment that goes into having a car, paying the monthly insurance,
Yeah.
the gas,
Mm,
the everything that is associated with it is not. It's. I think it's only and purely a financial decision that I do not have a driving license or a car. Like, I don't want to get a car because of that. I haven't invested in getting a driver's license. That is it. But that is going to change because I am planning on getting a driver's license in the next 2 weeks, hopefully. Just a G1 learners, just for the sake of an ID card. That's it.
do you have a license back home?
I do. I do have a valid license back home. I am going to get a driving license extract.
The transcript, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing. So that is in
Because
the
that
works.
helps.
Yeah, in the next 2 weeks, I should be done with getting the G1
Okay.
test done.
The commute thing again, that's
Hmm.
Sudbury was okay. I came here. I didn't realize how bad the commute situation was until I moved up here.
Mm,
Um, I knew there were no buses, but moving around town, I thought it would be easy. It's walkable. It's relatively walkable. But when I first the Walmart I worked in, I named it. The Walmart I worked in is just outside town. It's
mm.
about depending on how fast you walk. If you are a normal person, 15 minutes. If you are a homosexual listening to Beyonce, 5 minutes. I don't know.
Basically,
Depending on your speed, it could be either
yeah,
or. But I
right.
would say realistically 20 minutes. It's on the
Mm,
highway, right? And
mhm.
especially in winter, it's not happening. So at first, I bought myself an e-bike, one of those,
Oh,
yeah, stand on it like this, right?
oh my God. Do you have a picture of you riding an e-bike?
No,
I would love to
there is
see
no
that.
evidence that exists to show how ridiculous it looked. when a 5'11" uh, hefty brown man with long brown curls just riding
Mm.
along on the highway, mind you, on the highway
Oh, wow.
towards Walmart, and I could see the semi trucks coming and them seeing and then just like veering off a little bit. They're like, "What the hell is this?" Even though I'm on the other
What
side of
is
the
it?
road.
Yeah.
They only built the sidewalk a year after I moved here. They were still doing the construction on it when I first moved.
Um,
But that was good for the summer. It was good for the summer. I'd charge
mm,
overnight. I'd ride to work. Then I'd ride back to work. And just about 2 minutes before I reach home, it would run out of charge. Then I'd walk. Fine. It was fine but for winter, the first winter, I took a taxi every day. And it was, I think, $15, one direction.
so $30 a day.
Yeah, and there's only one taxi service in this town, so it's just like every other monopoly in Canada, which
Mm,
applies to the internet, the mobile services, the groceries, and all
yeah.
that. Just like the monopolization of that in Canada, because there's only one taxi service, you could be waiting 5 minutes or you could be waiting 50 minutes. There's no there's no other option.
Mm,
That's when I decided, okay, if I'm going to spend this all this money for a cab during the winters, might as well get a car because that'll be an
mm,
investment for me, right? And I
mhm,
hated driving in India,
mm.
even though I had had a license
Yeah.
since I was 18. And I rode my two-wheeler all over. Like I remember riding my Vigo from Kochi to Idiki and then going to Alapura and all these places in my Vigo. I even went to from Todupura, where my hometown is, to Idiki, the
Hmm.
city, the close to Painavar, just for the heck of it in my Vigo. Now
Wow.
that I think of it, it's ridiculous.
I used to do that with my Activa.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when I was studying in MA college, my house is in Kochi, right?
yeah.
So over the weekend, I would on Monday morning around 5:30, I would start my Activa and go all the way to Kodamangalam and like go to the hostel there. The morning ride is amazing, especially when you take the Moachupara route.
I flipped it. I would do late night ones when I was working in Kalamashiri with South
Mm-hmm.
Indian Bank, right? Every
Mm-hmm.
because my shifts would be usually 3 to 11s. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
liked. So I would finish my shift at 11, take my Vigo, grab some stuff, and then ride to an hour and a half to Tarura from Kalamashiri. And I would have
Mm.
my headphones in under my helmet,
Yep, yep,
and
yep, yep.
I would sing. It's an hour and a
Yep,
half concert. But
yep.
I always think like what it would have been like for the people on the side of the road. Like all they would hear is
I know. Say, and I
yeah,
will
exactly.
always
Yeah,
love you.
I was singing Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and all that, and tuned up or tuned down Justin Timberlake, and all they hear is
Screeching, screaming. Oh my God. I used to do that
oh
too. I used to
no.
listen to Whitney Houston, and
Uh,
on the highway, she is
yeah,
amazing.
it shortens the drive in your head,
It does. It does.
and especially if you're going up a hill, if you're singing a high note by Celine, you're just
I know. For me, it was
oh.
Adele and Whitney Houston on loop. Like, oh, it was so good.
Oh.
Oh.
So
Okay.
yeah, I didn't
So,
drive. I didn't drive. Because I think it wasn't because I didn't like driving. It's because I hated manual. I hated the
oh,
gear shifts.
okay. I love the gear
I
shift.
did exact opposite. I can't drive a manual. I can on the highways, I'll be fine. Once I'm
Mm,
in the city, I
mm-hmm,
because I get annoyed easily.
mm-hmm,
So if I don't trust myself not to get annoyed and just ram into someone because I almost did it once. Again, this was in the early days of driving a car. I was driving my parents uh, from Kochi to Torupura, and we were near Muattura, I think near Nirmala College.
mm-hmm.
Um, was it Nirmala College? No, it was Vishwajyoti, the engineering college,
Oh yeah, okay.
right? And just before the college, there's like a slight bend, right? So there was a bus parked there and I have to overtake it. And the bus is going that way. I have to overtake it. And because I didn't want to downshift, I accelerated and then I see a bus coming.
Fuck.
And I see a bus coming and I was like, okay, I'm dead. I had decided in my mind, I'm
Goodbye,
dead. And I
everybody.
accelerated and I
Oh,
squeezed in between those two. And I could hear my mother and my father screaming.
oh
And we got
God.
home, and I thought my mother had had a heart attack.
Oh no.
It's
Between two
hilarious.
buses, was one of them KSRTC?
Yes,
Yeah.
both of them.
Oh, great. Perfect.
So I had accepted my fate as a squashed bug. And I was
My
like, go. That's when I
God.
decided, yeah, maybe this driving malarkey is not for me.
Mm,
And then I stopped driving in Kerala after that. And then I came here and I'm like, automatic. Ooh. I don't have to think. The machine thinks for me. Excellent.
mhm. Yeah, you just have to control the speed and the brakes. That's it.
But when you
Just,
first start driving, it might not be that difficult now because you've been in Canada for so long. Your brain has fused to the driving here, like
mm,
the lanes. When I first started driving here, so before I went to do my test, I asked one of my coworkers if I could drive her car just to get the feel of it. I think she offered. I didn't ask her. I think she
mhm.
offered because I was too scared to drive. And my instincts, man, were to drive into traffic because we drive on the other side of the road.
Oh, wow.
So years of riding the scooter,
Yes.
right? The instincts are to keep to the I think I
What is the
forget now,
correct
to the
lane?
left
Okay.
extreme.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our instinct is to keep to the left extreme and then turn left. And
Mm,
when you turn right, you look. But here it's
mm,
the exact opposite. You keep to the
mhm.
hard right and keep to
Yeah.
the left if you want to overtake and all that, right? So, but my instincts were to do this
Oh, okay.
consistently. And she was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And even funnier, I got into a car and I had never used a touch start. I was
Oh,
looking for the keys. I'm like, just press the button. I'm like, oh my God. And
oh,
then, even funnier, I was with my right leg. I was looking for the clutch. I don't know if it
oh,
was the
okay.
right or left. I was looking for the
Left.
clutch. Yeah, I don't remember anymore.
It's left. I think it's
I
left.
don't
Yeah.
remember anymore because I'm an idiot. I was looking for the clutch, and she's like, what are you looking for? I don't know. Just my feet want
That's
my feet
something.
want to dance. I don't know. So it took like driving 3 or 4 times with her to
Oh,
get used to the idea of driving on the other side of the road.
okay. Wow.
But once I got the hang of it, it's like, oh, this is easy peasy. He says now, but again, I was very scared. And then I went
Mm,
for my driving test. Before that, I didn't, I did one lesson. It was a 2 hour lesson with a driving instructor from an hour away. He had to come into town. Yeah, I think I forget how much I paid though. I think it was $50 per hour.
mm,
So it was, what was the car? It's a Ford EcoBoost, one of those small, yeah, it's a small
nice.
car.
Okay.
And again, it didn't have the gear shift. It had a one of these, like you changing the sound volume in your car. It had one of those for the
Oh,
gear shift.
ugh,
I hate it, and
ugh.
yeah, I just couldn't get the handle of it. But I got just enough to do my test and get my license. Literally the day after I got my license, I ordered a car. It arrived, and I learned actual driving in my own car.
Mm,
And continuing the story of me being dumb, so I bought my car from Toronto because there were no options in Casing. Because again, it's a monopoly. There's two car dealerships here, and they sell Ford and the American cars, and they're frightfully expensive, especially because it's so far up north, right?
mm.
So I didn't want to buy any of them, so I bought online. I did online shopping for a car.
Did you at least go see the
No,
car
no,
before?
no. They had pictures online and everything. I Yeah. Mhm. So I bought my car online, but
Okay,
they
there is
delivered it.
nothing wrong with it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you have to be careful.
No, it's just, see, okay, I'm gonna interject here with a whole
Yeah,
thing. There are there are certain things that we do not do on our phone, but we
uh-huh.
have to do it on our laptop, like buying airline tickets and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
you have to do it on a big screen.
Right? Like, where is that coming from? It's perfectly fine to book an airplane ticket on a phone. It is
Yeah,
okay. And it's very similar, like clothes. Now that people buy clothes online more, but earlier, like buying clothes online doesn't make sense because you have to see it, you have to
yeah,
feel
feel
it, you have
it.
to like try it on and stuff like that. And I think the same goes for the car. Like, usually you go to the showroom, you see, you sit on it, you
Yeah,
try different things, you listen to a salesperson yap,
yeah,
all of that. But it is okay
yeah.
to, for everyone listening, it is okay. It is
We
okay
listen
to
and we
buy
don't
online.
judge, but
Yeah,
I actually judge.
I know
But
you.
I was a first time car buyer. I had never
Mm,
bought a four wheeler before. We had
mhm,
owned four wheelers before, but again, these are Indian cars. We
mm.
had only owned Maruti Suzuki Wagon-Rs, a series of Maruti Suzuki Wagon-Rs. Because again, my parents were thinking it's a small enough car, it's a good car, but it's tall for the two twin towers that their sons are. My
Mm.
brother and I are both 5'11" in a family of 5'6".
Wait, your brother is also as tall as you?
Yeah, we are almost
Oh.
exactly the same height. He just looks taller because he's skinnier,
Um,
but
well,
I look scarier because I'm bigger and smarter and prettier. I'm not
uh,
really. He got the looks, I got the brains. It's fine.
okay, sure, if you say
That's
so.
okay. Yeah, I
I
have
have
to say
seen
so.
your
That's how I
brother,
convince
so
myself. That's how I convince myself.
mm,
So again, I bought the car online. On because Canada has the what is it called? I think it's Auto Car or something. There's an app where you can
mm,
look at options, and they tell you all the details. You can contact the seller, and it's legit. You can peruse different cars, and this was a good service. And they delivered the car to me in the afternoon. They delivered the car to me. I signed the papers. I checked everything. I made sure that one of the others who was familiar with cars checked everything to make sure that it was fine, and it all looked okay. And obviously an SUV because in these roads with big ass trucks, or as I call
mm.
them, penis extensions, you need something that would that would survive if a collision happened. You
Okay,
can't have a teeny tiny car,
okay.
right?
Can I ask how much you pay for insurance in Kapuskasing?
In Cap's case, my insurance is under 200.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is,
because
I think it's unheard of in the GTA.
I think so too. Because for one thing, I had 10 years of experience driving in India. That
Mm,
helped because I had the transcript, right? And I had
mm,
never had any incidents.
mm,
And then I also had a good job. And the car that I bought, it's a, as the Americans would call it, it's a Hyundai, but as normal people would call it, it's a Hyundai.
Oh,
It's a
for a second I
Hyundai.
was like, what the?
Oh,
Okay.
you know how these Americans like to butcher names, right? Iran, Iraq. Yeah. Iran. Where did you run? You're not running. With your BMI, you're not running. You're running away from wise choices, like a president who is not insane. Don't get me started.
Keep going, keep going. Don't hold back.
Oh, and losing touch with reality. Well, how can you lose something you never had? So the first night, I so this in total, I have driven a car 4 times in Canada when I buy my car. Yeah, altogether 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I bring my car home, all good. Next morning, I pull out of my driveway, and the car is not moving. I'm like, Jesus, you idiot. You bought a dud. You made a mistake. That's my internal thought process always. I
Mhm.
start blaming myself. Like, oh, you shouldn't have, you idiot. And then I was like, oh, maybe you should turn on the car. I mean, start the car instead of just turning it on. Yeah, I've forgotten to start the car.
Oh,
Because
wow.
my house is on an incline. Reversing out onto the road
Oh,
was easy.
it just went. You just had to press the brake and you
Yeah,
thought
it
it
just
was
went.
working.
And I started the car. I'm like going, oh, okay. And again, the same day, I tried to play music on my car. I connected my phone using the auxiliary cable because
Mhm.
again, that's what we always do, right? and the sound was garbage. I'm like, oh, I wanted a good sound system. Why did I buy this dud? Okay, I'll stop blaming myself. We can always replace the audio system. Connected by Bluetooth. Turns out it was the auxiliary cord that was broken, not my phone or the car.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's again, I my internal thought process is always to blame myself and then figure out a solution.
Hmm.
Yeah. So pitfalls. But it's not as bad as the one time one of my friends in Sudbury, she had had her car for about 6 months at this point. And it was summer, and I was just about to leave Sudbury and move to Casing at the time. So we were going out for a lunch. And it's very hot in the car. I'm like, why don't you turn on the air conditioning? And she's like, oh no, Arjun, it's broken. It's not working. And I just went and pressed the air conditioning button. And I was like, there's the button. So
No.
I don't think it's me. It's just us. It's the people I surround myself with. We are all slightly broken.
See, there is a learning curve. For some, it is just long.
Yeah, you
For
want to
some,
justify it any way you like, but we're all dumb.
we are stupid as
Okay, tell
we
me
are.
about so what is the day-to-day commute and that feel for you like in the GT? I've been only there like twice in the
Mm,
6 years I've been in Canada. I've been there once to see the Rome, to go to the museum and experience that. I was there for 3 days, and
mhm.
then this other time was I was flying to India and back. So
Okay,
tell
for
me,
me, the commute here is the connectivity is good.
Ken.
I would say the connectivity is good because you can travel from east of Toronto to west of Toronto quite easily on a single train. It's the north and the southern part of Toronto is also connected. Like the downtown parts are very well connected by the subway. And then interconnect, like where there is not a subway line, you have the streetcars,
Okay,
which
nine
are
name desire.
no,
Oh,
Tennessee Williams.
I feel so faint today.
Isn't it Daisy? Daisy, right?
No, it's Blanche
Blanche?
Boudoir. It's not
Who?
Blanche Devereaux. I know that.
Oh my God.
No,
Oh,
it's not
the
boudoir. That's not.
boudoir is something
It's
else.
Dubois, not boudoir.
Boudoir is something else.
It's a bedroom.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we have
Oh
streetcars
no.
really help with connectivity, and then there are the buses. So,
Oh
to
yeah.
my understanding, the TTC, Toronto Transport Corporation, I think, or the company, whatever, has mainly three vehicles. One is the subway trains. We have line one, line two, and line four
So
somewhere.
just like an average Malayali boy in college, 3 lines. Girlfriends.
Oh, okay.
Did you
I
forget
would,
everything? My God.
I am not an average Malayali.
You have become a gentile, a
Oh,
Gentile,
what?
a
Oh,
Gentile,
oh,
as the Jewish people would say. He's lost the tribe and become a Gentile.
oh my God. I have to learn all of these. I have no idea.
Yeah, just watch The Nanny.
Oh,
It's a
what's it
funny
on?
TV show. It's about a nanny.
What is it on?
Oh,
Not
it's
what's it
on.
about.
I don't know, uppers,
Prime?
downers, and candy corn. I don't know. Oh, you mean what channel it is on? Netflix, probably.
First down as a candy corn.
That's not even my joke. That's a RuPaul joke. No, that's not even a RuPaul joke. That's from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, I love that. Uppers,
Yeah.
downers, and candy corn. Okay. Okay,
I
so
use it in daily life. Yeah.
the commute in Toronto is pretty satisfactory for my needs, for
Okay.
sure. You can, if you're okay to walk a little bit, like let's say 10, 15 minutes, you're pretty sorted. Like
Uh-huh.
you can get
I
anywhere.
would be pretty salty if I had to walk 15 minutes every day. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I like
but
walking.
it's nice. Like it's safe, well, outside, but inside the TTC it is not
Oh, okay.
because of the rising unhoused population and people
Uh,
living with mental health difficulties and
Don't talk about me
um,
like that.
substance substance use
Oh, the only
issues.
substance I use is iced tea.
Oh,
I'm drowning in that stuff.
do you make it at home?
I just make tea and ice it.
Like just
I make ice cubes out of it. I
oh
freeze it.
oh okay.
I,
Oh.
yeah, little hacks. Or you can freeze grapes and put it in so that it doesn't dilute your drinks. It doesn't taste
That
like grapes.
oh, but then do you eat the grapes at the end?
No, I freeze it again.
Oh, like reusable. You can just get rocks for that. Like there are like
I know, but
ice creams or
if I
something.
accidentally swallow a grape, I it'll pass through me. I don't want to accidentally swallow a rock
Spoon. Oh, a ball.
and wait 6 or 7 days to hear a plonk. No,
Mm, that's
not
fair.
6 or 7 days. I'm more regular than that. Why am I talking about my bowel movements?
You went there, not me. I
I
didn't
went there
take
and
you.
came back, honey. No,
Okay. We have 3 minutes left.
I think we should. I think we've
What is
talked.
this? Is this going to be like a 5-part series or something?
I maybe depending. I think we'll wait for if people want to continue. If they want to donate to the charity known as Arjun and Alan, please call this number.
Yes. No, don't call, like text. Like
Yeah,
because
please don't
nobody's
call.
picking up calls here. Sorry.
No, don't. I don't
Yeah.
even let I let my parents book an appointment with me once a week. That's it. Yeah,
Okay.
not a phone call kind of person,
Oh, wow.
which is ironic because I used to work in a call center for the South Indian Bank.
Probably that's why you are not into
No,
it anymore.
I always hated it. I always hated it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so commute is one thing which I like in Toronto and which I think is not available in Northern Ontario. The second is job. The nonprofit sector towards Northern Ontario, as like there are jobs there, but the number of organizations that are based in Toronto in my sector is comparatively huge amount, which means more employability, more job security. If anything happens and I have to leave my job, I have always under the
Options,
options. So that is the second part. The third part is you get everything here, like
including
all
herpes.
that I have not received yet.
Good
Judges,
for you.
please note that has not been contracted by this person yet. But you do get the herpes vaccine, which I
Uh,
have.
which
Judges,
is good.
again, please note that I have indeed
Choices.
received a vaccination.
Nice.
Um, but
Vaccine.
wait, is it herpes or hepatitis that has the vaccine? It is the hepatitis. Sorry, scratch that from
At
the
least
record.
you got shot. Oh, that sounds wrong.
I have been multiple times. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, so access to services and facilities is really good in Toronto, which I don't know if Northern Ontario is, in my head, it is like it's a rural area where people do not have much needs and they're very happy with life. And since
depending on where
the
it is. Yeah.
yeah, and the immigration population seems less, which means services that cater to the immigration population would be comparatively lower and less developed.
Yeah.
Whereas in Toronto, like it's really good. It's very
That's exactly why
robust.
I moved up here.
Oh, okay.
I don't want this to be a desirable place for certain people to flood the
Mm,
market.
hmm.
It's
That's fair.
colder. It's much less out there. There's no parties here. There is no
Mm.
place to show off your fancy cars. There's no place to have discos or whatever the kids do these days. So it's a quiet, happy life.
And here it's a bustling, good life. I wouldn't say happy.
Yeah,
It's a good life.
I choose happiness over anything else these days. As they say in that one uh, uh, reel about the little child, happiness.
What kind of reels are you watching? Send them to me if you haven't already.
I think we have covered everything